Hello, everyone. Welcome to our presentation about compensation and benefits for the alternative protein industry. My name is Claudia, and I'm the communications manager at Tälist. I will be the host for today. Next slide, please. So let's start with a quick introduction about us. We're Tälist. We are the first and only company that offers talent solutions for the alternative protein industry. Specifically, we match alternative protein businesses with the best talent from around the globe for the benefit of humans, nature, and animals. We offer a range of services including recruitment, headhunting, and executive search, as well as training and consultation for businesses to improve their hiring. Next slide, please. So let's start with our presentation for today. The how-to guide to create the best compensation and benefits package to attract, retain, and reward employees. Please note that this is not a one-size-fits-all solution. It is a guide to adapt to your specific needs. Next slide, please. So, why are compensation and benefits important? Next slide, please. So, human resources are the most important aspect of a company. The more talented a company's employees are, the better its output and its bottom line. There are two primary advantages of great compensation and benefits package. One, to attract the best talent in the industry and from other industries. Two, to retain motivated employees. So now I will pass it to Pia, the founder of Tälist, who will continue the presentation. Pia, next slide, please. I will hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Yes, what are compensation and benefits? I will give you a quick overview of different categories before we are running through the how-to guide. So you could, for example, categorize them in two very broad categories: the direct compensation that you are providing in return for completed work, such as salary or commission and bonus pays, or indirect compensation, which could include everything like healthcare and retirement benefits, flexible work hours, or training on the job. And there is a whole list of benefits, and I will not go through every single one of them, but I think one that is particularly interesting is on this slide: the employee stock options, and even more so, the stock appreciation rights. So this is something that alternative protein startups should definitely consider for their first hires or for their key roles, such as C-level employees. Also, for startups, it's very interesting to consider non-financial benefits and really communicate them as a core advantage that they are offering. For example, flexible working hours, depending on the role, remote working, and even things like drinks and snacks can show that you really care about your employees. And then there are some more like personal employees or benefits that are related to the personal situation and lifestyle. For example, if a candidate has a family with small kids, you can think about childcare allowance or meal passes, but also other things like personal and individual learning and development plans. So how do you create a competitive and attractive compensation package? We will run you through a how-to guide now that you can adapt to your specific situation and needs. These are the steps to follow. First, define the role and requirements. This might sound trivial, but it's very important to really understand the must-haves and nice-to-haves for this specific role. You should create this together with the hiring manager, and you should be prepared to make a trade-off and really know what are the top priorities to focus if you don't get the candidate that checks all the boxes for the salary that you can offer. Understand your budget range. What is the minimum you've already planned in, and what is the maximum you can pay for a really outstanding candidate? And for this, you should also consider that in some companies, there are different budgets that you can use. For example, some companies have a specific or independent training budget. Create your compensation philosophy. Will you lead the market or the industry with a super competitive salary, or will you pay a modest salary but add very great and attractive benefits? And define seniority levels and make room for career development with a salary increase. This is very important, not to only win the candidate, but also to make sure they stay motivated and committed. The next step is do your comprehensive market research. Of course, ideally, you would find some data on a similar position within the industry, within your country, but particularly for the alternative protein industry, there's not so much data out. So you have to just go for the next best data that you can find. You should also really consider the salary and situation in adjacent industries, because from the perspective of a candidate, they might not only compare you to other competitors within the alternative protein industry, but also from adjacent industries. And you should always be on top of the legal situation and the tax situation in your very own country and region. Then you should consider other personal factors. As mentioned, if a candidate shares with you that they have a family with small kids, or that they have to relocate, they're coming from a low or high income country, then these are all things that you should consider to make a very individual and attractive compensation package. And the last step is to develop a communication plan. That means be prepared to negotiate. What is your negotiation strategy? And also be prepared to adapt what you're offering based on how the candidate is reacting. It also means that you should be clear about whether you always have individual compensation packages, or if you have a system in your country that works for everyone. Now, to make it a bit more concrete, we've prepared an example. So on the one side, we have the actual cost to the employer, and then on the other side, we have the value to the candidate. I will quickly run you through one or two lines to explain what the difference is. So in the very first line, you see the gross salary for the candidate is, for example, 70,000 euros. This is the yearly gross salary. And this is what they will see on their payroll document. But for you in Germany as an employer, you have to add a significant amount of additional employer costs, for example, taxes and social security. So that really adds up to your costs that you have to budget in. But then you can also play with tools, for example, with the stock appreciation right. They don't cost you anything in that very moment, but they do have a certain value. For example, depending on the value of your company, this could be 20,000 euros of profit per year. So this means, depending on what you want to add to the compensation package, there can be a significant difference between what you're paying, in this example, 91,000 euros, and how much is actually worth to the candidate, which in this example is almost 100,000 euros. So what is an ideal compensation and benefits plan? I hope it became clear that it is a lot of work to prepare it, and it's always specific to the country, the industry, the role, and even the candidate. But I think it's worth it because it's so important to have a competitive compensation package, not only to win the best talent for your team, but also to retain them.
All right, thank you so much for coming today to our presentation about compensation and benefits. Thank you very much, Pia, for being here with us. So we hope you enjoyed our presentation, and we would like you to stay up to date on the latest HR industry news and opportunities by following our LinkedIn page. Thanks very much. Bye.